During week 227 of Brada's Branded Thoughts, an update on the YouTube channel and the platform as a whole, something I've never really done here publicly with everybody. And I've had some requests to talk about how the platform is doing and how I feel it can improve. So I'll talk a little bit about that, plus an exclusive interview with future Iowa DB Jaylen Watson, whose uncle is a former Iowa running back and a pretty darn good one. We'll talk to future Iowa DB Jaylen Watson coming up during week 227 of Brada's Branded Thoughts. This is from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Straight from the man cave, Kinnick under the kitchen, authentic, original player artwork is being drawn up for Hawkeye fans everywhere. Locally made prints of stars wearing the black and gold from the past, present, and future. How about current Hawkeye superstars Cooper DeJean and Torrey Taylor? Legends of the past like Jack Campbell, Spencer Lee, and Tim Dwight, plus future phenoms like Aaron Graves. There are so many options available. They make great gifts, and your purchase benefits the Hawkeye athletes wearing the black and gold. Visit Under the Kitchen on Facebook or at Under the Kitchen's new website. That's underthekitchen.square.site. Again, that's underthekitchen.square.site. Check out Under the Kitchen today and get your authentic, original Hawkeye print. Week 227 of Brada's Branded Thoughts. Yes, 227 episodes of this podcast, and that doesn't count all the post-game shows, all the live Hawkeye hangout shows, all the short-form content on the YouTube channel. And I've had a number of people ask me, can you please give us an update on where the channel is and how it can improve, what needs to happen for it to grow? So this may not be your cup of tea. I understand if you don't have any interest in watching a video like this or listening to a podcast like this, but I've never done this formally on the channel. So I figured I'd spend the next few minutes talking about the platform, where it stands, plans for the future, how I think things are going to improve, and how you can support the channel, etc. So first of all, the bread and the butter of this channel. I think most people who watch this platform, listen to the platform, recognize that the bread and butter of what we're doing here from the Hawkeye of the Storm is the post-game content. And of course, I couldn't do the post-game shows without people like Don Patterson and Coach Gary Close. I mean, we've had support from people like Sam Logic, Tania Davis, Matt Gatens. Go down the list. James Moses. We've had J.R. Koch on the show, Jess Settles. It's been incredible to support, and I couldn't do it without those experts, without the people that know a lot more about their respective sports than I do. And so really the post-game shows are the bread and butter of this platform, and they're what I enjoy doing most. Being able to recap games right after the games usually, and being able to hear from experts, former players, former coaches, etc., is a joy. And that's not going away. We've got Coach John Patterson and I every week this fall, as we're in the middle of another Hawkeye football season, talking with you. We take calls, we take chats, we let people video chat us if they'd like. We try to encourage interaction. We even have a phone line that can take text messages. So if you want to send in a text comment during the game, we can throw that up on the screen. We try to make it as interactive as possible. And I have had some people, quite a few people actually, reach out and say, hey, you got to shorten callers. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I understand that people want to hear from Coach Don Patterson. Some people want to hear from me. I think most people want to hear from Coach P, and that's understandable. And so we've tried to, in recent time, shorten the callers on post-game shows, and I'll continue to do that. We've kind of set a 2-minute time limit for callers during post-game shows after games. We got a little bit lenient with that. This past Monday, we had a belated post-game show with Coach Patterson 2 days later. But for the most part, we're going to try to continue to do that because some of these post-game shows have stretched 2, 3, 4 hours long, and neither Coach nor myself want to go 3 to 4 hours long. But I appreciate everybody who's a part of those shows, and it's nothing personal if I cut you off a little early because we've just got to get to the meat and potatoes of what we're doing. So post-game coverage will continue for football. It will continue for men's basketball. And really, I think the next question that I have for all of you, the listener, the viewer, is where do you stand with Iowa women's basketball? A lot of passionate fans out there. And I've dabbled with some content. We did post-game shows during last spring and the Iowa women's basketball postseason run. Of course, they made the run to the national championship. What better time to do post-game coverage? But my question for Iowa fans is, do you want more post-game coverage for Iowa women's basketball during the regular season. I'll leave it at that. You can give me feedback in the comments. You can give me feedback by reaching out to me by email. My email is fromtheeyeofthestorm@outlook.com. Fromtheeyeofthestorm@outlook.com. So just like the platform, drop the hawk, right? Not from the Hawkeye of the storm. It's from the eye of the storm at outlook.com. And give me some feedback. What do you want to see more of? I can't guarantee that I can produce everything everybody wants to see. I can't be a people pleaser as it relates to this channel. But I would like to know your thoughts on women's basketball post-game coverage, and especially with the season ahead. It's going to be an exciting year for Iowa women's hoops, and I'd love to be able to cover it more extensively. I'm limited on time, of course. You can only do so much, but would like to get your feedback on that. Of course, podcasts will continue here as well, just like this one. And you've probably noticed a theme over the months that you've been a part of this platform, maybe now over the years where you've been a part of this platform. This specific podcast, Brada's Branded Thoughts, was really the inception of the show 7-8 years ago. I started recording this podcast called Brada's Branded Thoughts back when I was in high school and have continued it since. And it's kind of evolved into a show that is more so focused on not only providing my thoughts on a specific subject on a bi-weekly basis usually, but also talking with future Hawkeyes, former Hawkeyes. Perhaps it's a season preview show, which is usually a part of Brada's Branded Thoughts. And really, I think it's fair to say that the future Hawks that we have on this show, we'll have Jaylen Watson on here in a few minutes. That's really the bread and butter of this platform. So if you have suggestions on the podcast, feel free to reach out to me. Again, can't guarantee that every suggestion is going to be followed, but feel free to do that. And hopefully you're enjoying this type of content. Hopefully this brings a different flavor and some diversity for the audio podcast platforms. We're on all the major audio platforms like Spotify, Anchor, Google, Amazon, Apple, all of those. And so this show, all the live post-game shows, they're all podcasted for your listening on those platforms. And there's everyday content here at the channel as well. And of course, it's impossible for me to cover every single Hawkeye storyline. For people that don't know, I am not in Iowa City. When I get an opportunity to go to Iowa City and go to a live event like Media Day, or perhaps it's Kids Day or something similar, I'm going to do that. But being 2.5 hours from Iowa City, it does limit me. So I'm not going to be able to cover every single storyline in every single sport. But with everyday content, and it's pretty much every day, sometimes it's twice a day, folks, we're publishing as much as possible. And with the assistance of some other people behind the scenes, we're making it happen. So we'll continue to try to do that, not just with football, but with men's basketball, with women's basketball. And my next question for everybody is, what would you like to see new here at the channel? Obviously, I kind of previewed the idea of more women's basketball coverage. As one person, I'm limited, but would you like to see baseball coverage? Would you like to see men's wrestling coverage? These are different questions that certainly I have pondered, thought about. How can we expand the efforts here from the Hawkeye of the Storm, making it bigger, making it better, and making you, the viewer, happy and giving you content that you care about. And of course, there are so many passionate baseball and wrestling fans out there. So those are all things that will continue to be considered. Obviously, it's hard to start new things during the middle of a football season. This is basically the busiest time of year. I think once we get to November, folks, you're going to see how busy it really is. If you've not been a part of this platform for very long, you have crossover because you've got the men's season starting, the men's basketball season starting, plus the women's basketball season starting, and we're still in football mode. So that's going to be a challenge, but that's kind of how it is each and every year. So how can you help? Besides just offering suggestions, offering ideas that could make the show, potentially make the show better in the coming days, weeks, months, years? Well, there's 3 major ways plus a general way. We'll start with number 1. If you want to sponsor the channel, here's how you do it. Reach out to me. Again, just like the suggestion, the comment box, so to speak, by way of my email, reach out to me from the eye of the storm at outlook.com, from the eye of the storm at outlook.com, and I can give you some sponsorship opportunities, some advertising opportunities. Also, you can reach out to me by Twitter. I'm at From the Hawkeye on Twitter. I'm From the Hawkeye of the Storm on Facebook, and I'm at From the Hawkeye on Instagram. Perhaps it's a short-term sponsorship. Perhaps it's a long-term sponsorship. Perhaps you're just curious. Reach out to me. That is the primary way that the work is supported here. All of our sponsors, folks, are very, very important and are special to me. And really, when talking about sponsors, we need to give them their due. Go to the description. In fact, do it right now. Don't wait to the end of this video. Look down below and you'll see our regular sponsors for everyday content on the channel. On all of our post-game shows, you'll find our post-game sponsors throughout the year. Check these companies out. These people are what's supporting this, making this happen. I cannot emphasize this enough. A YouTube channel or platform like this cannot succeed without sponsorships. Okay, it just cannot. And you've seen, if you've been a part of this process throughout the last couple of years as we've tried to build this platform, you've seen our subscriber numbers go up, but they're nothing compared to the bigger YouTube channels out there nationally that cover a variety of topics. Why? Well, first of all, it takes time to grow these platforms. But secondly, there is a ceiling. Now, what is that ceiling as far as potential growth for a Hawkeye sports platform, a Hawkeye sports YouTube channel and audio podcast? I don't know. We'll find out. But the point is, there is a ceiling somewhere. And so it is a bit of a niche. So we need the sponsors. We appreciate all the sponsors that have been a part of the show. And if you're interested in sponsoring, building your brand, expanding your business, and supporting the work here, reach out to me. And of course, support our sponsors. Their links, again, are in our descriptions. Be sure to check out their products, give them a chance to help you out, and again, support the platform. A second way you can really support the work being done here is by means of donations. When I said a second ago that this show can't happen, this platform cannot happen without sponsorships, the donations that we receive here from the Hawkeye of the Storm also keep things going in a large way. And I know this is kind of the tendency, the human nature of consuming content, and everybody's asking you to pay for stuff nowadays. And I even had somebody say that to me on social media not that long ago. You're blocking stuff with subscription walls. And no, I'm not. Okay, I'm not doing that. In fact, our members, which I appreciate every single one of our premium members, you can join by clicking the little blue join button. They get some content early. All right. They may get some poll questions, some posts in our community page, and they may get some perks. They do get some perks, and something that I'm going to continue to try to work with our members to expand what perks we're giving to those members. But I really don't want to limit what we're doing by means of a subscription wall or a membership wall. So it really comes down to how willing are you to support something that you enjoy watching, that you enjoy consuming, and not assuming that everybody else is supporting it and that everybody else is donating. Hey, a little bit helps. Every little bit helps. So if you're interested in donating to the channel, there's a few ways you can do that. First of all, if you got a PayPal account, you can go down to our link in the description, click on the PayPal link. It will take you to the PayPal website. You can either donate by means of PayPal, or if you don't have an account, you can donate either one time or make a recurring donation by means of your credit card. Very simple ways. It can be $1, it could be $10, it could be $100, whatever it is, whatever you want to give to express your appreciation for the platform and for the content. I will express my appreciation back in advance. Thank you for doing that. You can also donate by means of Venmo. The link for Venmo is in the description of all of our videos, and Cash App, all available for you to donate if you so choose. Again, thank you in advance for your donations. And finally, how can you shop with From the Hawkeye of the Storm? Well, first of all, everybody uses Amazon, right? I mean, I use Amazon almost every day, it seems like, at least looking on Amazon, getting ready for my next purchase. Be sure to click on our Amazon link. You can buy anything you would buy normally on Amazon through our link as an Amazon affiliate. If you are using the link in our description to make your everyday Amazon purchases, we get a small percentage of profits, very small percentage. But if you do this on a consistent basis, again, it's a way you can support the work being done here at From the Hawkeye of the Storm. We've also got a merch store. Check us out on Spreadshop. We'll continue to try to get some more designs in there. That's something that I think needs to improve. More designs for our From the Hawkeye of the Storm followers, listeners, watchers. So that will be something that will continue to happen. And as you think about the perfect gift for your relatives, your friends, family, fellow Hawkeye comrades, be sure to consider From the Hawkeye of the Storm on Spreadshop. And finally, maybe the biggest way you can continue to support the platform here, the Hawkeye content that's being published on a weekly, sometimes daily, oftentimes daily basis, just spread the word. Just tell others about the Hawkeye channel. I can't tell you the number of people that I run into at Hawkeye games, at the Iowa State Fair, at major events, and there are people that come up to you and say, hey, love the platform, love the show, and I always appreciate hearing that. But as you continue to try to promote things, you find out, hey, there's a lot of people out there that have no idea that we're on YouTube, no idea the post-game shows that we have with Coach Patterson, with Coach Close, our women's basketball coverage, our everyday content, our podcast, just spreading the word, telling others, whether it be in person, word of mouth, social media, sharing our shows out on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you use social media, share the show out there, and it does help immensely. So again, I don't want to bore everybody with numbers and with statistics. The show is growing. I appreciate everybody who's a part of the growth here. Could it be doing better? Yeah, we can always do better. Help us do better. Give us suggestions, donate, sponsor, shop. All those things are ways you can help the channel. And again, number one way is just by spreading the word, hitting that like button, making sure you're subscribed, have notifications on, interact with us during shows, and you can support the growth here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. All right, folks, before we get to our interview with future Iowa DB Jaylen Watson, I want to thank one of our sponsors, Iowa Floor Covering. If you need flooring, perhaps you're starting a project or buying a new home, whatever the case may be, and you're looking at flooring options, give Iowa Floor Covering a call. Tile showers, carpet, and more. They're located right in the heart of central Iowa, down in Bondurant. Call them at 515-379-7000. That's 515-379-7000. Or visit iowafloorcovering.com. And how about this? Just call them and say, hey, maybe I'm not doing a project right now, or I'm not starting a project yet, but when I begin, what do I need to do? How can you help me out? And let them know that we sent you here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Again, that's Iowa Floor Covering down in Bondurant. Pleased to be joined now by Iowa Class of 2024 commit, Jaylen Watson. And Jaylen, appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a busy time of year for you. The high school season's underway, and of course, college football is well underway. First of all, you and I, before we started recording, you and I were talking about just the pressure off your shoulders now that you're officially committed, and the long recruiting process, and how just taxing that is on a young guy like yourself. How does it feel to officially be committed to Iowa?
Yeah, like we said before we started recording, it was nice to have everything off my shoulders. Going to my senior year, I just wanted everything to be nice and smooth. Worry about me and my team trying to make a state championship run. So having Iowa out, me going to Iowa, having everything off the board, it feel really nice to just have it off my shoulders.
So Jaylen, tell Hawkeye fans a little bit about yourself. First of all, your background. I know you're from the Detroit area. Iowa's done really well in that area of the country, and you and I were talking about how many athletes Detroit and the outskirts of Detroit produce year in and year out. But you're at Toledo now. What prompted the move to Toledo? Of course, you're a member of the Central Catholic High School there in Toledo. Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Yep, really it was just nothing more than just my dad just having a job opportunity. He got a job at the Jeep plant right here in Toledo. So we wanted to move closer. We didn't want to do all the driving back and forth. It was a lot on him. So we wanted to move closer. And, when we came down here, we lived like 5 minutes away from his job. And, Central Catholic is actually 10 minutes down the street. So, when we found that out, we got everything in tune. And, now I'm let it there. So it was all a smooth transition.
Talk about the recruiting process, Jaylen, because the plethora of schools. I mean, if somebody wants to go up and look up your recruiting list, it's the plethora of schools that were in on you. I mean, we're talking from MAC schools to some of the biggest blue bloods in the country that pursued you. And of course, you eventually settled with Phil Parker and Iowa, and Phil was your primary recruiter. And it's not a mystery to anybody why a future DB would want to play for Coach Parker, but just talk a little bit about that recruiting process and how long has this lasted for you?
Yeah, so really my recruiting process really started my sophomore year. After a couple games, I put up really good stats in a couple of games as a sophomore. So I started getting my first Power 5 was West Virginia, and I got some MAC after that. So then ever since my sophomore year, it's kind of just been going up. So, I've been real blessed for the opportunity just to meet a whole bunch of different coaches, see different campuses and everything like that, And most recently in July, that's when I shut everything down. So I'm just blessed to everything that happened since then. So, yeah.
Talk about your background as far as playing. I know you played a lot of receiver in high school. You've also played a lot of DB. When did you come to the realization that, hey, my best chance to be really good at the next level is to be a corner, to be a DB? When did you come to that realization?
Honestly, it was when I came out in Ohio. After talking to my coaches now, my high school coaches, Coach Dempsey and our head coach and everything, I was talking to them about it. They were just telling me what they think is the best for me and how they see me from the past couple of months I've been down here. They really think that, DB is something that comes natural to me. I got speed, so that's another thing that I got on my side, So they really did help me come up with that decision going into like college-wise. But, for them, I'm playing both ways. So, I'm just enjoying it all right now.
What makes you special as a corner? I mean, talk about speed, but Phil
Yeah.
Parker likes guys with good hips, really good ball skills.
Right.
Just talk about all those different skills that you bring to the
Really,
table.
really, I think something that has come out advantage is me growing up all these years playing off the side of the ball. So there's a lot of things I know receivers do before they even start a route, just how they base their line up, how their feet is, how their posture is. So I think that's something that's really like to my advantage is I have the receiver background growing up.
When you came to Iowa, your visit to Iowa, what was that like? And you're from a big city, and you move
Right.
out of the big city to maybe not quite as big of a city, but you're
Mhm.
still a big city kid. What was it like going to Iowa City, and why were you comfortable with a totally different culture and just everything's different about rural Iowa?
Yeah, really, it was. I really didn't expect much going there. I didn't know what to expect, honestly. But when I went there, everything exceeded my expectations. It was great, honestly. The people, the campus, the coaches, the support staff, academic support staff, the players. It was all nice. It was all more than what I could ask for. Actually, looking into college. So going down there, it was something great. I got to learn about more than just football, more so the academic side, how I live on campus, how everything is. So, it was a great experience. I'm happy that me and my family got to go down there and experience it.
And for anybody that has not seen Jaylen's official list of offers, if I'm getting these right, Jaylen, of course, Iowa, Cincinnati, Minnesota, West Virginia, Louisville, Maryland, along with a number of other MAC schools. And you
Yep.
were recruited. You had some blue bloods, as I said earlier, that pursued you. Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame was in on you, Penn State, Michigan State. You grew up a Michigan fan. What's it going to be like playing against the Wolverines for 4 or 5 years at Iowa?
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. It's something definitely. Growing up, all me and my family used to do is go to Michigan games. So it's gonna be a surreal moment. Actually me growing up watching them, and then me being on the field one day playing against them, and that's gonna be a game. I know all my family's gonna be there, so I can't wait to make that happen.
What's a regular day look like for you, Jaylen? How much time you spend in the gym working out? How much time do you spend with recreation? What do you do in your free time? What's a typical day for Jaylen Watson?
Right, really, right now, we in school, football season started. So, I'm in wake up, go straight to school, do what I need to do in the classroom. Straight out of school, we go straight to practice. We got our film, our lift, practicing for the day. And then usually after practice, we always try to do some type of team bonding with the team, no matter if it's a couple of us or if it's a big group. Maybe we get some food, anything like that. Then after that, I get home, do some homework, knock out a little cardio work, no matter if it's running a mile or on a block or doing some push-ups or anything like that. Doing my homework and just get ready for the next day. Just keep repeating it.
What's the plan as far as enrollment? I'm assuming you'll be there in the summer. Is there any chance of getting to school in spring semester?
Yeah, I know. Me and my dad and my family, we talked about it. We wanted me to try to get there early, but it's just the school I'm at, the Catholic school, and it being a private school. It's not that they will love me to do that, but it's kind of hard for them to do that because in the past they really had nobody to do it. So as far as credit wise. So right now it's looking like I'm gonna have to just wait and just enroll around June time. So, but if we can't make that work, then I'll let you know in the future. But right now it's just something right now.
I always find it amazing, Jaylen, when I see young guys that play corner or any DB position at Iowa. The opportunity Phil Parker gives to anyone, regardless of age and experience. I think about a kid who started week 1 against Utah State this year, Deshaun Lee, who's a Belleville kid. He commits kind of late in the process, part of that 22 class. He's been through one spring and he's starting. Was that part of the conversation process too with Phil Parker that you realize, hey, this guy's going to give me an equal shot, whether I've been there for 3 years or for 3 days, if I show out on the field right away?
Yeah, for sure. That was one big topic that they always told me, like, me going in there, if I can play early or not, that's going to be solely up to me. How I come in there, how I handle myself, how I work with the team, how I'm able to adapt to different things. That's one thing I love when they always told me, coming in here, you can play as early as possible. It's just you got to put the work in to do it. So that's something that was definitely high on my checklist that they marked off.
So many, I just keep reflecting on so many great DBs at Iowa
Yeah.
from your area of not just in general, but from Michigan. Are there any that you grew up watching or that you kind of took note of at a young age and said, hey, this guy's from kind of close to my neck of the woods?
For sure. The most popular, Desmond King. I remember me and my dad used to always talk about him in high school. When he said he was going to Iowa, and then when he actually started playing at Iowa, man, I remember the whole city used to always talk about him every week. He just keep making plays, keep making plays. So having somebody like from my own city, being able to go there to school that I'm going to next year, and doing what he was able to do, still in the NFL right now, that's a great inspiration to look up to when I was growing up. So yeah, he was a big role model.
One thing that I've always found fascinating, hearing stories about Phil Parker and how he goes about the recruiting process, he's not a quick trigger on offers.
Right.
He vets kids, and I'm sure he vetted you. Can you talk specifically about your relationship with Phil and how that's been developed?
Yeah, before I even had got the feeling that I might get offered, me and Coach Parker, we probably had conversations and seen each other probably 10 plus times. I see him and talk to him a lot, and like I said, coming from that college showcase, the week after that, that's when stuff actually started picking up, and I went to the camp and everything, and then they offered. But yeah, Coach Parker, he definitely know who he want. And that's one thing, he would never tell you something that's not true or that he don't believe. So, at the time, I wasn't the guy, but, after the showcase, once he seen me, I turned into the guy for him, and then I was number one priority. So that was definitely something that was eye-opening for him.
I've got you at, according to On3, I've got you at 5'10", 160. I don't know how accurate that is, but what's your preferred weight by the time you get to Iowa, whether that be in January or in the summertime?
Yeah, right. I was 160 in the summertime. Right now, I'm up to 170. Before I get into Iowa, I really just want to get, as much strength on me as I can, no matter if that's putting on weight or me staying the same weight. But as a goal, probably want to try to get to 180 if that's possible. Just keep eating the right things, stay in the weight room before I get down there.
And I asked you before we started recording too, Jaylen, about this class, and I always find it intriguing and just wholesome to see guys from the same recruiting class bond and become closer than brothers. Seen that with a lot of these guys in the 23 class. Just talked to a bunch of them in media day here a few weeks ago. But I'm guessing you've already built some bonds with some of the classmates of yours in 24 that are committed to Iowa. Can you talk about the class that's built so far?
Yeah, this class, I feel like this class could be really special. A lot of us got that chip on our shoulder. We're not the most highly ranked kids in the nation. But, we just going to come in there and just prove it to everybody every single day and just, stick with each other. That's one thing we preach to each other right now, just to, make sure we look out for one another. And when we get down there, we just got to go to work.
I'm curious, of the schools that recruited you, Jaylen, what percentage, or were they all recruiting you as a DB? And did that go into your decision-making too? Were there schools that said, hey, we'd like you as a receiver?
Actually, all the offers I had other than Iowa was for receiver. It was off offensive side of the ball. So, when Iowa came into play for defense side of the ball, it completely changed everything. Like, that's when I had to sit down with my coaches and I talked to them and, we was trying to figure out what was the best thing for me. So, when Iowa came, like I said, completely switched everything. And, it opened my eyes to a lot of things when they came for defense side of the ball.
And I believe you were coached by Brendan Diaz-Fernandez's father. Am I correct
Yep.
in saying that?
Yep.
So, again, we talk about DBs from Michigan.
Right.
I'm guessing that those connections helped you?
Yeah, for sure. Coach, I call him Coach Tom. Coach Tom, once he found out that I was going to Iowa and it was on my radar and everything, we talk every single day. He loved Iowa. That's all he talk about. So, having him in my corner, having him help me, and then his son, obviously, Hoss, he told me things when I was on my official visit. He was actually my host on my visit. So, having people like that was definitely a reason that went to my decision.
And there's a former Hawkeye that happens to be an uncle of yours.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell people about the connection there within the family?
Yeah, Fred Russell, the running back that was there for a couple of years, for like I think three or 4 years. But yeah, Fred Russell, my uncle. Once I got that offer, like I said, him and Coach Tom we was on the phone every single day. Having somebody like my uncle, like Fred, it was crazy to hear all the stories. Because Coach Ferentz coached him. Coach Ferentz is going to be my coach. So, hearing stories from him, he actually got coached by him every single day. He was there for years, inside and out. So it was great just hearing all the stories and everything he had to tell me.
In 4.47, am I correct that you ran a 4.47 at Iowa camp? That will obviously be appealing to anybody at this level. What are your ultimate goals, Jaylen? I'm sure, most guys your age, not only do they want to, they want to get a Power 5 offer. You've done that. Commit somewhere. You've done that. Obviously, you're going to sign, I'm assuming, in December. Right. And then I'm guessing your aspirations are to play at the next level. But can you talk specifically about what you aspire to do on the field and off the field?
Really just, first I'm going to start high school, my senior year. I just want to bring the state championship, me and my team, at best we can do that. Just keep going every day with that. And then, when I get to college, I just want to, just work every single day and have the best, put myself in the best chance to play early as possible. No matter if that's that year or the year after that, just keep my head down, just keep everything in order, and just keep working.
I'm just curious, just to go back one more thing, and I don't want to miss this. Fred Russell play. You talked about his play at Iowa in the early years of the Kirk Ferentz era, I guess.
Right.
What did he talk about as far as his experience at Iowa and Kirk Ferentz as a person, how he was coached at Iowa? What did he say to you when that offer came?
The biggest thing he always told me about Coach Ferentz is how much he cared, like for you as a person, not just a football player. You know, it's bigger than the football with him, and that's something that I can really take in my head. Like, okay, that's a head coach I want to play for, somebody who actually cares for me off the field more than he does on the field. You know, and he still got a relationship with Coach Ferentz to this day. You know, it's been like 15 plus years since he played for him. So that also says a lot that he really do care for you more than just a football player.
Absolutely, and I think that's not only consensus with Kirk Ferentz, but you got a position coach who is going to treat you the same way, and
right.
that natural bond will last for years to come, like it has with Fred. Jaylen, appreciate you taking the time, and again, if you end up getting to Iowa early, we'll see you in the spring. If not, we'll get to chat with you next summer. Go Hawks in the meantime, and have a great season at Central, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Go Hawks. Thank you.
Appreciate Jaylen Watson for the time and the connections, the bloodlines to former Iowa running back Fred Russell. Be intriguing to follow. And it is interesting. Jaylen's another kid here in 2024 that's flying under the radar and yet had some serious interest out there. And I found it really interesting when he said that basically Iowa was the only school that really pursued him as a DB. He runs a 4.47 or ran a 4.47 at an Iowa camp. I know some fans, their reaction, why is Iowa not recruiting him at receiver? I will say this, Cooper DeJean is an example of a guy who, you'd love to see him at receiver, maybe participating in offensive plays here or there, but Phil Parker is going to utilize athleticism and talent, and Jaylen Watson's got both of those things. I mean, Phil Parker's developed guys who are 2 and 3 stars. Jaylen Watson's a solid prospect, so looking forward to seeing what they can do with yet another Detroit native at defensive back, coached by the great Phil Parker. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of Brada's Branded Thoughts here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. As I said earlier, be sure to reach out to me if you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever the case may be. Appreciate you being here and supporting the content and the show here. We will talk to you very soon.